Guys, you guys.
Prediction? Yes, prediction. Hey.
Are you ready? I think was born ready.
Obviously, you're a little, aggravated by the line of questioning regarding Canelo.
I don't want to touch this, dirty, so bad. I don't want to touch his name.
I'm working on feeling the art of humbleness. Can you be with me? That's the reason why I'm crying, because I'm not that person no more. And I miss him. But sometimes I feel like a bitch. I don't want that person to come out, because when he comes out, hell is coming with him. And it's not funny at all. It sounds cool, like I'm a tough guy. It's just I hate that I'm scared of it.
It would be awesome to, be being a great warrior. Maybe with a Mexican. I have to put the joke.
No, hey.
Thank you. Perfect for playing, man. I appreciate it.
Good timing, man.
Can't put predictions, man, but I definitely don't want to leave it to the judges.
Así mismo, damas y caballeros, we are Long League Boxing EnVivo Podcast, episode 61 with Manny Marrero.
Sean El Gringo Hicksa.
Hopper.
Always breaking it down like it is, like it should be, with a still special guest, Lion Killa.
In the house.
In the house, but we also have someone else.
We have someone on the line. What the hell? We doing too damn much. That's what we doing.
Damn.
But the champ is on the line. All right. So we said episode 60 was going to be Galaxies Collide, and it was. But now Galaxies Collide for real. We got the Galaxy Warrior himself, Mr. Nate Galaxy Warrior Campbell on the line. Hello, sir.
How you doing, man? How's everybody doing?
Oh, man, doing great. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Just kind of wanted to touch in with you on the latest and greatest in boxing, the good, bad, and the ugly, if you don't mind. So, Nate, what have you been doing? We heard from Lion Killa that you were working with some of your fighters at your gym. We'd love the name, please.
Oh, man. I got a lot of amateurs. So
The name of the gym.
nobody that you would know of. Well, the name of the gym
because I didn't know.
Jack's Muay Thai. I train at a gym called Jack's Muay Thai. Well, it's Galaxy Boxing at Jack's Muay Thai, actually.
Galaxy Boxing.
So
We're in the same ballpark because we were all trying to guess what the name of the gym was. I call it Galaxy Warriors.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
You're
very close, though. Yeah, that's right.
And it's outstanding. It's kind of odd, man. I train a bunch of guys who are Muay Thai fighters. And I train a lot of guys who are Muay Thai fighters because they don't give me any lip. And I don't want it. I don't want to fight with anybody, debate with anybody about stuff. They just listen to what I say and they try. It works for them.
That's awesome, man.
So,
no pushback.
But then I also have my crew of amateurs. And I'm laughing about it right now because they give me all the lip I want.
Hey, nothing like balance, right? So you have that balance in your life.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Absolutely. So you were getting prepared for a fight or a tournament. What would you have going on?
Amateurs, yeah, man. We have a pretty nice tournament coming off this weekend over in Clearwater, Florida. A friend of mine named Ali Terra, who was a pro fighter when I was a pro fighter. We used to be foreign partners. He puts on shows.
Yes.
And I always take my guys over. First of all, it's a way for me to support him, and it's a way for my kids to get fights. But I get to take a look at my boys. It's awesome, man, for fighters. When you came up through the ranks with someone, you just respect their hustle and their grind, even beyond boxing. Now, that's one of those situations that I have with Ali Terra. I think Ali Terra is a tremendous person, and I would never do anything but do my best to make sure all of his stuff is successful.
Man, that's awesome. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And that's what it's all about. I mean, we definitely admire and commend the amazing career you had as a professional, but hearing that you're putting in the work for the community, I mean, honestly, that's where we're big on. We like talking about the young prospects and the guys coming up and the guys that, are hoping and aspiring to get to the level that you reached and achieved. So thank you so much for sharing that and, sharing about the, your knowledge to these young fighters and getting them prepared for, whatever their journey is. That being said, we did have
he's in Florida? You're in the Florida area, Mr. Campbell?
Oh, yeah. I'm still in Florida, man. I don't think I'm ever going to leave.
Oh, nice.
I don't think I'm ever gonna leave. I love it. I love it here. It's my home.
Jacksonville?
I just enjoy. Oh, Jacksonville, Florida. I'm still in my own city.
Home of the Jaguars.
And that's
Do we play the Jaguars this season? No, the Cowboys. We don't play the Jaguars.
Is that the mustache city now?
Oh, the stash.
The stash.
Gardner Minshew.
Awesome.
we got the mustache. That owner has the mustache. Yep.
Absolutely. So Nate, they've had so many different things that are going on in boxing as far as things are starting to kick back off. Even though during the pandemic, things looked like they were moving and matriculating slow, but now they're having fights being announced. They're having fights that are taking place. They had a recent big card that took place. You and Lion Killa had an awesome stream that you guys did, several streams. We would love your thoughts on the Charlo doubleheader, hashtag Charlo doubleheader. And for those that haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. I mean, it's a stream full of entertainment. Nate has no filters, and he's fully knowledgeable of boxing, and man, just a great pleasure to hear. And so what's your thoughts about the Charlos in general, and just the state of that card, and what was your takeaway? Because I mean, you were fully vested into the event.
Man, a lot of people don't get it. I'm in love with the Charlos fighter because and I'm gonna tell you how it started. It started where in the beginning I was like, man, these guys are brash and cocky, and I don't know what it is about them. That, man, they're good, but I don't know. And I met Jamal Charlo. And I met him at the IBF convention.
Okay.
And me, Winky Wright, what I call the old guard. Me, Winky Wright.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of us together. Me, Florida boys, and it was in St. Pete. So it's like it's always a homecoming in Florida, and we're all, and me, Winky Wright, Tony Tarver, Roy Jones, Buddy McGirt was there. It was just like full of guys.
Hell of an alumni.
Buddy McGirt.
Wow.
Alumni. For us, all the guys that just called from Florida are considered the golden age of boxing in the state of Florida.
I would agree based off that list.
Yep.
We're like the Rushmore guys. And, that's what they call it, the Rushmore guys. Golden era boxing.
I like that.
Yeah.
We're the Rushmore guys. Florida's Rushmore. So Jamal Charlo comes up to me, and I kind of see him out of the corner of my eye. But I was trying to think, what is his name? Then he's like, hey, you Nate Campbell? He walked right past Roy. You Nate Campbell? I'm like, yeah. One of the twins, Charlo. He said, yeah. I said, I was going to tell me, one, not to hold my tongue, I was going to tell him, y'all assholes. I was going to say it, man, I was. And it wasn't that I was going to say it because I didn't like him. Because I was going to tell him, y'all assholes, and man, if you ain't careful, you're going to get treated like me. And as far as he get it out, he said, man, I grew up watching everything on you. My dad made us watch every video on you.
Oh, wow.
And I said, oh, my God. I said, that's why you fucked up. That word.
Parenting.
That's why you fucked up. I said,
you got too much Nate.
That's what it is.
Too much Nate.
Yes. And as an older guy now, as someone that's older now, there's an old saying that is attributed to Muhammad Ali. Says if a man of 50 still sees things the way he did at 20, he's wasted 30 years. And I don't see stuff the way I once saw it a lot of cases. And I love the brash, cocky way, but then there's a part of me that's like, damn, it's going to cause them a lot of heartache and pain. But I think the world is ready for them now. I don't think the world was ready for a guy like me. So I'm happy that they're getting benefit. They're gaining benefit from something they consider me to do first. So I love the Charlos. So I was like, I know what they're capable of. We talk all the time now. My daughter is a big Charlo fan also. So in my house, it's Charlos and nothing.
Wow. Right. So you were right at home, literally enjoying the fight, fights that they had and put on a performance. How did it feel to see them? Yeah, how did it feel to see them not just perform, but in a lot of ways put on their best performances to date?
Shut a lot of people up.
Shut me up.
Shut a lot of people on this podcast.
A lot of us.
Us, right? Yeah.
I was nervous. I was nervous. I'm gonna tell you why. I wasn't so nervous for Jamal, but for Jamel, I was nervous.
Really?
And a lot of people won't. Yeah, I was terrified for Jamel. Jamel was in a fight with a guy that could hurt him with no effort. Jamel was on the with a guy that can hurt him with no effort. That kid could literally crush him with a shot.
Banana.
He showed me if nothing else. I knew he had heart.
He was hurting him during the fight.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Oh, he was finding a good fight.
He was hurting Jamel. He was hurting Jamel, and I would have to ask Jamel is how bad he hurt him. It's not that he hurt him so bad he couldn't breathe, but he hurt him.
Right.
And I'm thinking to myself, Jamel dug down in that fight because I remember the first time a lick was passed. I said, oh, shit. To myself, I'm thinking, oh, shit, this could be a short night if Jamel keeps getting hit with shit like that.
Right.
And that's me thinking to myself. But I still got to be objective. And I got to call it the way I see it. And I watched Jamel become a full-grown man. He became a full-grown man in boxing terms on Saturday night.
Wow.
He did things that made me so proud. I was so proud of the way that, though he was there with a guy who was probably a more dominant puncher naturally, he showed that he was smarter. He showed his boxing chops.
Boxing skills.
So in terms of the talent, you feel that these guys, because you talked about it, they are hated across the world. I would say.
Across this table.
Exactly, and they're just they don't portray. I mean, it's just a show for them, and they seem to have this star
chip on their shoulder.
Chip on their shoulder.
You're like, wow. If you don't know them, wow, that guy looks like a star, and he looked like a star. But that's just physically. When it comes to the boxing, the techniques, the IQ, are the Charlo brothers in that level to say they will conquer pretty much the world?
The Charlos are the best fighters in the division in the world.
And I agree with
Nobody
that.
Anybody can get mad about what I just said. If you don't like it, debate me. I'm down for the debate. And whenever they're ready to debate me, we'll give them a link. They can come on my live. Come on in, Lion Killa's live.
It's called Come Debate Nate. That's exactly what the segment's called. Come Debate Nate.
And don't tell me about how great Canelo is when y'all know he's been fighting
because he is.
I was going to say it.
Just to let you know, Nate, we do have a big, number one Canelo fan
Mexicano.
here. Yeah, so he's a huge, Canelo fan, and obviously, he is biased towards what Canelo's done. But that all being said, he
objectively biased.
He saw the fight, and speaking of that, Hopper.
But I wanted to ask Mr. Campbell. You mentioned that you were more.
Don't call me that.
Slap him, Nate.
It's just a habit. I'm sorry. I just did. Now I'm apologizing. Look at that.
You try to respect your old ass, Nate. Come on.
Hey, don't be sorry. Be careful.
Right. But you mentioned that you were more concerned for Jermell instead of Jamal. What is it about the Jamal fight that made you not worry about Sergey as much? Is it something that you knew about Dervinchenko or something about Jamal? What is it that made you not as worried for that fight?
Sure. Physically not big enough.
Okay. Yeah.
Physically not big enough. The knockouts he has with guys that aren't on the same level as Jamal. Jamal is a dog, but he's the kind of dog that a lot of folk will miss. Jamal Charlo is a cunning, smart, well-rounded dog. Quietly does his job, out of nowhere shuts off the light. You expect Jamel to get somebody out of that because he's more aggressive.
Right.
When Jamal does it,
pass it. Pass that stuff, brother. Some of that good fire over there. Some of that Florida.
You all right, man?
It's orange. Orange.
I'm drinking soda. I'm drinking a pop, and it went down the wrong way.
Pop. I know what a pop is.
Okay.
You must be from the Midwest.
I was starting to get worried.
Pop
Like,
soda.
hey, what you over there doing?
You got that Corona cough.
Like, dang, that's a little too much coffee over there, man.
Puff good.
Whatever. If it sounds like I was blowing wind out with nothing behind it, that's Corona. But when Jamal gets a knockout, it's a pleasant surprise because he's so structured in the way he attacks. He lets more stuff happen. But when Mel does it, to me, it's almost a given. Because Jamel's going to get in your ass at some point.
Yes.
And let's be real. You tell me who has fought better competition than these kids, record-wise. Because they fought the very best they had to fight. They came up a lot harder than most of the guys out there.
Well, yeah, that was definitely the thing. So, like, to your point, it was, to me, I felt like it was a debatable discussion. You know, a discussion could be had, but because they stepped up, both of them, and they took the fights that they did, I think that, you know, the debate that, you know, you challenge people to openly do, I don't think there would be much one because they not only took on the
well,
best,
about time.
Yeah, they took on the best available talent out there, you know, and, you know, had also, in the case of Mel, had a unifying, you know, title, you know, belt, but they outperformed, right? So you kind of talked about Maul. One thing that I would say about with his fight with Derevchenko is I thought that he showed, which I never really looked at it. He showed a lot of patience, I thought, you know, as far as, he was real poised as far as his approach.
Another dimension that I hadn't seen. Germain.
Finesse.
With Derby.
So I felt like, you know, I came away with it feeling like really impressed with him as far as like I felt he was even more well-rounded and complete as a fighter than I even gave him credit for. You know, that they say, though, great fights will bring out greatness out of great fighters. So, you know, speaking of, and I know you're proud of both of what they did, who stood out to you more on that night? Because it was a big night. Like, who had the bigger night to you? I know going into it, you were concerned for Mel more, but were you more impressed with Mel or more impressed with Maul, or it was just like equally satisfied with the way the results went?
I was so satisfied because, first of all, you got to know how much Maul loves Mel.
Oh, yeah, they were so tight. They were rooting for each other.
Yeah, but Maul loves Mel, and Mel loves Maul.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get down to it. But if you sit down and have a talk with Jamal's youngest son is named Jamal Jr. His oldest son is named Jamel.
Mm. Naming
He
after
loves
his brother.
He loves his brother. I think his kids, brothers, all his boys, and they have their uncle.
Mm.
And you can't hate the way they love each other. That's the one thing that sticks out for me more than anything. Other than the fact that I was having a full-blown argument with Jamel in New York City one day at the Barclays Center, telling him, I was just with you. He was, no, you were my brother. Don't play with me. Don't you play with me. And I forgot. I said, oh, that's right. You got a twin. That was a funny thing that ever happened to me with the twins. They love each other. What made it such a great night for me was when the camera panned over to Jamal. He was so genuinely concerned about his brother.
Yeah.
And you see that in every fight. When Jamal's fighting, Jamal is genuinely concerned, and vice versa. What sticks out to me is this. There'll never be two brothers like them ever in the history of boxing. Ever again.
Bigger than the Klitschko's?
Never again.
Bigger than the Klitschko's?
The Klitschko's ain't identical twins.
Not, but they're brothers.
They ain't twins.
I guess he's alluding to the twin bond.
Twins.
Oh, you're doing to the twin bonding? Okay, then that makes sense.
Oh, okay,
I mean,
the bond, yeah.
They didn't share eggs. They may share everything else, but they didn't share eggs. And you can see it in the way that there's a beautiful sense of competitiveness in those guys, but they love each other. And I think that the greatest thing that you could ever have is two brothers that love each other like that. or two sisters, but
Nate,
these two young men.
Nate, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Now, post-fight for Jamal, and we talked about this on the show. What is the Triple G Canelo fight? Triple G fighting Jermell or Canelo fighting Maul? What's the possibility of that happening? Because, you know, we've discussed this on the show, where I feel that guys are selective in the game, and I hate that. I think the best should fight the best, and whoever's next up should fight next up. Do you think there's the prospect of that fight happening soon?
Nope. They rather, truth be told, I don't believe Canelo wants any smoke with those twins.
I mean, Jamal was the WBC mandatory for a few years, and they never pulled the trigger.
What?
Right?
Truth of the matter,
Jamal?
I don't particularly think they were ready then.
That was like 3 years ago.
So they didn't want the smoke then, but they want it now. See, I don't know. I'm still. Oh, go ahead.
Here's my issue. Canelo could have pulled the trigger wherever he wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't have to wait on them.
You don't have to do.
But he didn't want the smoke either. I can see them not wanting to smoke. He got 98 fights. Let's be real. Why should they come? Here's my issue. When I was champion, I called out Amir Khan, Pacquiao, Marquez, Casamayor. Now I was the champion. And nobody wanted to smoke. I had to fight mandatory.
Had to.
Whatever happened to that? So let's not absolve Canelo, because Canelo ain't took a dangerous fight in years.
He just fought Triple G twice. Four of his last fights, Triple G, Daniel Jacobs, Sergey Kovalev.
Not dangerous.
Kovalev is a wino. You want to go here? Because I can take it now.
He's about to take it here.
Oh yeah, his alcoholic issues are pretty well known. Yeah, Andre Ward exposed that.
Like Stoli, I love it.
But still, it's funny how people, Sergey Kovalev, when he defeated Yardy, everybody's like, oh, the Crush still has it, and then one fight later, he was old.
You do agree that fight happened 8 weeks after the Yard fight.
That's on Kovalev's camp for accepting the fight. You want the fight, you don't want the fight, don't accept it.
They want the money.
That's not Canelo's problem.
But it also plays to the methodology of Canelo. Canelo does make fights with caveats. And so that's one of the things that we can go through a history of contracts. We can go through a history of a lot of things. Ultimately, like we were saying off air, Canelo has a bunch of fighters around that are the same age as him. That's what I want to see. That's what Nacho Berenstain wants to see. And that's the truth. I don't think Canelo's not a damn good fighter. I do. I want to see if he's a great fighter. And the way to define a great fighter is to fight the guys that are your age. He has a lot of names on the resume.
A lot of nitpicking then?
So no credit for fighting Triple G, even though he moved up and fought
I always thought Triple
G
was trash.
So why did he go? Wait a minute. Why didn't he move up and fight Andre Ward? Why didn't he move up and fight Andre Ward? Why didn't Triple G move up and fight Andre Ward?
Triple G never moved up, period.
Because he's destined to that division only. That's it.
He's stuck. He's Mr. 160.
He's Mr. 160 for life. I am tattooed. GGG 160.
But he gets credit for being 160. Other people don't get that credit. I was talking to Kelly Pavlik about this. I'm like, hey Kelly, Triple G had I think he was 24 or 25-0 when you were still champion. Where was he at? He said, I don't know. I have no clue. I can
this is the same guy. This is the same guy that these boneheads. Can I say what I want to say?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, go for it.
That these bonehead mother such and such would have beat Marvin Hagler. He couldn't have beat Marvin Hagler's meat.
Don't see that on Boxing Rec, but
Not him, not him, not Canelo, not none of them.
well, yeah, that's
Like, let's really be honest. Canelo has basically is going to be Canelo and De La Hoya are basically going to be the reason that two great boxing telecast networks went out of business. They matched it with shit for 3 years with HBO and ruined HBO, and they trying to match it with shit on the zone. Let's call it what it is. He wants $34 million or whatever it is to fight a dude that's a zookeeper over in Zimbabwe.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't want it. It's contractually obligated. It's like when the NFL. It's like when an NFL team or an NBA team signs somebody. I mean, if they get buyer's remorse, that's on them. They signed the contract. Canelo didn't put a gun to the head and make him sign the contract.
You know what? You sound like y'all gay lovers. I'm gonna tell you right now. You are really padding the book for Canelo. You are really
because you guys. It's quick to shoot down his resume when pound for pound the only guy that has the most active resume is Pacquiao compared to Canelo's resume.
Pacquiao has a steroid addiction allegedly.
Well, this is the thing. People can look at BoxRec. People can look at records, but fighters, people who know fighting, look at ability. They look at the phase that a fighter's in.
Yeah, because if you look at Jamal's BoxRec,
no, right, but that's the thing.
There.
But that's the thing. You're looking at the BoxRec. I'm looking at the fighter, and so
I'm looking at everything.
Well,
this is just for a reference right now.
Your emphasis is the resume right now, but what I'm looking at is the ability, and that's why I keep harping on 30. All these guys are 30. All these guys are literally the same age. There's really nothing in the way. There truly is. When Canelo got they created the franchise belt for Canelo. Okay, they granted the interim title and they upgraded it to the WBC main title for Jamal. If Canelo is the middleweight franchise champion, why doesn't he fight the main champion? It makes the most sense to me.
Absolutely.
So
I'm gonna give you one. Hey, a lot of folks don't want to hear this, but I'm gonna call it what it is. You can say what you want. When I was coming up, me and Roy Jones talk about this all the time. I didn't want nobody else to be champion but me, and I was gonna do everything in my power to make sure it didn't happen. Now, stop telling me about how great Canelo is when Golden Boy offered me $20,000 to see if I would fight him. Come up from 35-40 to fight him at 54. You telling me something? You talking about how much you love him on your end? I'm telling you what I know about it. I've already told this story before.
Tell it again.
They tried to get little old me. They tried to get little old me to come up from 35-40 to fight this big old motherfucker for no money.
And let me ask you this though: is that something new to the boxing game though? Like where the A side calls a lot of the shots. If you want to fight the A side, if you want the money, is that something? Did he rewrite the rules to the game?
First of all, I've been a unified champion. That motherfucker ain't never unified nothing. Why would you even call a man from that low in weight to come up to fight this man? Didn't he fight the China 10 Warrior? What the boy name is? Amir Khan?
Amir Khan? Yeah. He jumped up from 147,
to
154.
Yeah, first of all, he wasn't 147 pounder. He never should have left 135 with that kind of chin.
Yeah, he should have never left his house with that kind of chin.
Somewhere else.
The paper chin.
Absolutely.
But the sad part about it is nobody is acting like that. Basically, you could have got that boy killed. And the sad part about it is the boxing industry said nothing about it because they love Canelo. And they don't think about the value.
Well, I mean, that was after he fought Cotto, Kirkland, Lara, Angulo, Mayweather, Trout.
Cotto was shot.
Kirkland without air.
You want to go to Cotto was shot? Oh, wait a minute. Let's go. Cotto was shot.
Keep going. Keep going. I want to hear.
Cotto was shot. And you know he was shot.
James
Kirkland.
Kirkland.
Kirkland was shot.
Erislandy Lara.
I was there when Kirkland got stopped. Who?
I thought Lara won that fight.
Me too.
Yeah.
I thought Lara beat him.
Actually wrote that he did.
Yeah.
I wrote that. I wrote a piece that he
I
did.
thought Lara beat him. Who else? Trout couldn't hurt him with a Trout, I love Trout, but Trout couldn't hurt him unless you put a brick in his glove.
So Nate,
what about Daniel Jacobs? What about him?
Danny Jacobs that just came off a hard fight. No offense, you can never tell me. One of my friends made a statement the other day.
Danny never shows up, Nate.
I want to say it was Lion Killa. He said, I think Danny Jacobs fights scared against the top guy.
Yeah, he fights not to lose.
He did land some really good shots, though. That I think on Canelo,
he fights not to lose to me. He doesn't fight to win.
Doesn't take the risks.
He don't take chances.
Don't take the risks.
Yeah.
He destroyed Peter Quillen though.
That's Peter Quillen past his point.
So Nate, I would like to know.
Tell me what happened to Peter Quillen's last fight.
Oh, he lost to Pedro, right? Angulo?
He lost to Angulo.
That's right.
Yeah. Shout out to Angulo.
Yeah, that's our boy.
So Nate, I have to ask. So we look like we established the fact that you don't believe that the Canelo fight would happen with the Charlos with Maul. So what fight would you like them that you think can realistically be made? Would you like? Would it be Patrick Teixeira to unify?
There's a little trash talk already.
I mean, they're already kind of going back and forth.
They're kind of going on Twitter.
What's your thoughts on that?
I say go ahead and clean out the division and make it where he has no choice.
Yeah, and I think that's the best choice because I don't think that right now. And I actually was there when the Teixeira beat the Dominican for the belt.
Carlos Adame.
And it was a really good fight. I was very impressed with Teixeira. It was actually the first time
Brazilian.
Brasileiro. But I honestly don't think right now there's anyone right now in the junior middleweight.
But see, even that, and let me ask you this, Mr. No, see, there I go. I was about to call you Mr. Campbell. It's just, I'm sorry, that's just the way I was raised.
Regular old Nate.
Regular Nate. All right, all right. I'll call Nate. Sir, is it true what they say about you know, you're champion? Is it true what they say about in the boxing game where politics, it's the truth that holds the boxing fights from happening with the different networks and the different platforms? Or can a fighter just say, hey, I want to fight that dude over there, make it happen?
I tried to, but that's not the way it works.
Okay.
That's really not the way it works.
So there is something to be said about the politics when people say, or like the PBC guys like to say, you're on the wrong side of the street. Yeah. You know, there is truth to that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to give you one. Y'all want to know some history? You want to hear it go?
Go for it. West.
Okay. Golden Boy was given a 3-year content deal. When they were given a 3-year content deal, a guy by the name of Nate Campbell beat the guy that they were trying to sign named Juan Diaz.
Baby Boom.
Juan Diaz.
Yeah.
Right. They still signed Juan Diaz. And they made it very abundantly clear. They made a statement that they would just fight around me. And that's what they did. They had all the dates. HBO was backing them, and they just fought around them.
Yeah. And he shocked the world.
No, I remember that, man.
He shocked the world.
From like the mid-round, 7th, 8th round on, he dominated that.
Big time.
Yeah, that was an amazing performance.
Great. Actually, I was in Cancun too, right? Cancun, Mexico, that fight.
Was that your first time fighting in Mexico?
Yeah, it was my first time fighting there. It was my first time fighting there. And at the end of the day, I keep telling guys, but you got to remember something. De La Hoya was given a content deal. And when they were given that content deal, let's be real. When they were given the content deal, HBO was the #1 brand in boxing. Am I lying?
No.
No.
Not at all.
When they got done with HBO, you could find better shots. It's a better fight on World Star Hip Hop.
Yeah, but I think the HBO deal, and then to summarize what they released at the time was, they want to be #1 in everything, and because of the politics in boxing, it's hard for them to do the mega fights that they want because a lot of the fighters are in different platforms. And I guess that's a solid reason to get out of the game. I'm like, man, if I can't get this guy over there to fight, because they got the money for it, they got the budget for it. And also another thing too that kind of ruined HBO was the Game of Thrones budget. So ridiculously expensive that it kind of
talking about a movie production per
episode. And they had to cut it from somewhere, and they're like, you know what, boxing, we can't get the best fights because of all these barriers that we have no control over.
Well, the other part of that equation was the focus on international boxers like Triple G, who couldn't draw.
Speak English. That's the thing.
That was
a hard draw. It was a hard draw.
They couldn't draw a crowd. They couldn't draw ratings. And so this focus on
But you got to remember something. You got to remember something. you can't say that without mentioning the fact that Showtime had Vasquez, Marquez 3 or 4 times.
Oh, yeah, one time too many. Poor guys.
Yeah.
Iggy.
Call it what you wanted. They gave us everything we wanted every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
They kind of went out too. I mean, it was sad and
it's sad now.
But that was great. And ladies and gentlemen, we are speaking with Nate Campbell.
Don't call him Mr. Campbell.
Don't
call him Mr. Campbell.
Don't call him Mr. Campbell. Don't you call me Mr. Goddamn.
It was very good to listen to your perspective in terms of the middleweights and the junior middleweights and about the Charlo, because I've always wanted to know exactly.
I'll holler at you, Mr. Nate Campbell. Debate with Nate.
Mr. Nate. Now, Nate. Now, what I want to bring in right now is there is a fight coming up, and we talked about this in podcast 60, but I want to get your perspective because you are very familiar with one of the guys that's going to fight.
And I thought you won that fight, by the way.
Coming soon. You think so?
Oh, yeah. I watched
Are
it
you
again.
just saying it now? You were saying the opposite.
That's not what you were saying.
No, you were saying a while ago. You said unanimous.
This guy here.
No, I didn't say unanimous. You said, Nate, they're lying.
Nate. So, Nate, I know you had a pretty good encounter with Danny Swift Garcia back in the days. And, of course, Danny has, we talked about that he's a underdog at all times. And, a lot of people don't see exactly his star potential. And he's been able to accomplish a lot of things that, people say, how? You fought him. He's going to be fighting Errol Spence next. What do you think about this fight? Now, knowing that you know Danny Garcia and knowing the history that, last year, this year, actually, the accident with Errol Spence, is he ready to really take Danny Garcia, or is he Danny Garcia has the potential to beat Errol Spence?
Oh, look, both of them are going to have an 8-ounce glove. And that's the one thing people got to understand. Both are going to have on 8-ounce gloves. So both guys consider themselves punchers and believe in their power. Now, my question is this. I'm going to have to ask the question. I need to know how much damage was done to Errol Spence's mouth, jaw, cheek, head in that car crash.
Yeah.
And we're on agreement.
That's what I say, Nate. You don't spend. How many days did he spend in the ICU? You don't spend that many days for what?
6.
A busted tooth?
Yeah, we're not being conspiracy theorists, but
it
does seem excessive for teeth. 6 days in ICU.
Yeah.
Bro, let me tell you something. Let's get this understood. I don't know the whole spill. I called to check on him.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ask how long he was in the hospital. I just called to check on him. I never asked about none of the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I never asked about. First of all, I don't ask about if he was medical issues. That's not my business.
Right.
But let's get this part established. We're gonna find out the first time a good lick is passed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I know.
That's true.
I know it to be true. The first time a good lick is passed, everybody in the room gonna hold their breath to see him get hit.
And that's that happens. Yeah, that's what I said. I mean, you got to prove me wrong, and until he loses, I'm not going to believe. I'm still going to believe in talent. But you fought Danny Garcia, and one of the highlight punches from Danny Garcia is that left hook. Does Danny Garcia have power?
Didn't faze me at all.
Didn't at all. Just kissed you.
Well, maybe maybe it's because Nate has such a warrior. They didn't phase
He's
him.
a Galaxy Warrior. Come on.
I swear to God.
So that left hook just kissed your cheek.
Do you remember it?
Dude,
Tickled him.
Dude, man. Y'all, I'm going to really educate y'all.
Yes,
bring it.
Please,
Come
Professor,
on.
we're classes in session.
I'm sitting up straight.
I took that fight on 7 days' notice.
Out of retirement?
Out of retirement.
As well, or no?
I came out of retirement 7 days later, fought him.
And won.
and walked him down the whole fight.
Wow.
Watch the fight.
Yeah.
Watch the fight.
No, yeah, definitely.
And I'm not saying he ain't this, he ain't that. But what I am gonna say to you is this: he's grown since then.
Right.
And we have to be he's grown since then as a fighter.
Right.
So I was a different animal to start with, but he's grown since then.
Absolutely.
You know?
No. So
So do you give him a chance against Earl?
yeah. So
That's the question.
Did he grow enough?
I
Did he
give-
grow
I
enough
give-
to beat Earl?
I give him a chance, but I mean, I give him
a
a
puncher's
chance.
chance,
For,
just
for
a-
giving him a chance. There's a puncher's chance, but let's be real with this. He has never fought anybody. Okay, put it this
What
way:
about Keith
they're
Thurman?
one common opponent. They're one common opponent. It's Sean Porter.
Sean
Right.
Porter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
John
can take
Porter
away
has the kind
Brandon
of
Rios.
style-
Brandon Rios was not,
Brandon Rios still gave him kind of a good fight. He just
Yeah.
didn't bring his hand up after
Yeah.
he released the jab and got caught.
Keith Thurman.
Right.
No, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely an intriguing fight, and we love your perspective. Obviously, you're intimately knowledgeable about boxing and fighting
I
against.
love Danny Garcia. I love Danny Garcia. Let's get this established.
Yeah.
I love Danny Garcia.
Yeah.
I think he fights with his heart, all of his pride. I love Danny Garcia.
You're committed.
I love Errol Spence.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna love the fight. I'm gonna enjoy this fight.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, we all know. Especially it's going to be here in Texas.
Hopefully,
Hey,
hopefully.
Hey, Nate! If the fight
I heard
comes to
it's a fact.
Texas, are you going to be here?
You know what? I want to be.
Yeah.
I really want to be.
Hey, let's
Hey,
take a
hey,
podcast.
we are
the week
recording.
before.
Maybe we can have you in studio. with
Whenever,
Ryan.
I wanna be.
whenever
Hey.
you're in Texas.
Well,
Yeah.
I really want to be. I really would love to be.
What's the date of the
Even
fight?
though I would never
21st
move.
the
November.
21st of November, before Thanksgiving.
Nate,
Before Thanksgiving.
Nate, if you come down, I'll smoke a turkey, bro.
Ooh.
Smoke a turkey.
I'll smoke some too. It won't be a turkey though.
Now you trying to threaten me.
Hey,
I'll
I'll smoke the shit out of turkey, boy.
In the driveway.
I'll bring the rice. Nate, before we go, because we're kind of a little bit
Yeah, we're
short
kinda
time,
short
and
on
we're
time. We
so
got about a minute.
appreciative
We got about a
of
minute.
you bringing in, you coming in the show, ladies and
Thank
gentlemen.
you so
The
much.
champ
This
in
is
the house. But I wanted to ask you something real quickly. What's different? Back in the days, right, from the current boxing situation that's happening right now, the current champions. I mean, we're talking about Lerner, Hagler, back in the days of Camachos, and then you got this new talented guys that are becoming champions. And
The social media king.
the social media king, the demanding money through social media and promoting themselves, which they don't, what's different? I mean, how do you feel about the new era in compared to the era that you grew up with?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. For me, when I was coming up, we had to fight. We had to go out on the road. There was nobody taking care of us. For me, I came up the hard way. One of my guys like Nate don't like nobody who ain't come up the hard way. It's not that I don't like nobody who hasn't come up the hard way. I'm allergic to bullshit. I'm allergic to bullshit and codeine, and I can take codeine. And,
Bullshit would kill you.
A lot of people don't want to hear that part of it. I'm allergic to bullshit and codeine. But I think it's bullshit where a lot of guys are pushed to the front of the line without having to fight anybody.
Yeah.
These guys are becoming like Lomachenko. He is probably the most overrated mother such and such I've ever met in my life.
You're gonna hit a nerve there with Manny.
I disagree.
I can tell that. And if you want to see me about it, I'll meet you.
Oh, we're gonna book appointments with you.
We're gonna book appointments because we gotta talk about that. We gotta talk about Lou DiBella. We gotta talk a lot about a lot of things.
We gotta talk about
gentlemen. And
we'll catch up. We'll catch up.
I hate to poke a thorn on you on that, but we are out of time, ladies and gentlemen, with the
link
champion,
up.
unified
Nate,
champion Nate
this
Campbell.
this was amazing. Thank
Lion
you. Thank
Killa,
you.
Hopper, Manny, Sean El Gringo, episode 61.
Fuera.
Adios.
Thank you.
Peace.
Don't go anywhere, Nate.